premature. Clearly shocked, he examined the boy. He's only about 2 hours old and his temperature's very low, he said as he gently rubbed the baby's fragile skin in an attempt to warm him up. He's suffering from exposure. It's touch and go, I'm afraid. Another nurse arrived and weighed him before swaddling him in a soft, warm blanket. Call the night sister, ordered the doctor, and see if you can find the chaplain. This baby needs to be baptized. He may not survive the night. The night sister came, and the chaplain too. What name shall I give him? He asked. Any ideas? The night sister asked the nurses. He looks like a Richard, suggested one of them. So that was the name he was given. We must transfer him to Dudley Road Maternity Hospital, said the doctor. They can put him in an incubator to give him the best chance. Can you arrange that, please, sister? As they waited for the paperwork to be completed, the nurses gathered round baby Richard, who had by now regained a little colour and started to cry and kick his legs up. Everyone smiled to see him protesting. He's a determined little mite, said the doctor. He might just make it. One of the nurses accompanied the baby in an ambulance to the Dudley Road Maternity Hospital, where they were better equipped to look after him. On admission to Ward D6 and placed in an incubator, Richard rallied and his temperature normalized. Not only did he survive the night, he became the nurse's favorite. Meanwhile, the next day's newspapers were full of articles about the abandoned canal-side baby. The headlines read, "Baby left on canal bank. Newborn baby found wrapped in newspaper. Child found under bridge. Police search for mother." In fact, the police used the newspapers to put out pleas for the mother to come forward or for any information, but there was no response. It seemed the baby would have no parents named on his birth certificate. Almost hour by hour, Richard's condition improved and he began to flourish. "Day-old baby improving" was one of the second day's headlines. Later that day, a woman was brought into Dudley Road Maternity Hospital and admitted for treatment, suffering complications after giving birth. She gave her name and address, but would say no more. However, with the press still badgering the hospital for news of the abandoned baby's progress, an astute nurse suspected a link. The police were alerted and sent round a constable to question the woman in her hospital bed. At first silent, her weakened state left her vulnerable. Within minutes, she broke down and admitted she was the woman they were looking for. However, she didn't give much away at that stage, just that she had given birth that evening at her lodgings, a story that would later prove to be untrue, and wandered round with the baby, tired and confused, before laying him down under the canal bridge. While in hospital, it seems she did not request to see the baby. However, had she asked, she would not have been permitted to visit him while the police were investigating the case. The next morning's newspapers triumphantly carried the story on their front pages. "Canal-side baby, mother traced," and other similar headlines. Now the police charged her with abandonment and started to gather evidence from postman Joseph Lester, P.C. Watson, the first policeman on the scene, the doctor at the hospital where the baby was first admitted, and anyone else they could find. On the 22nd of December, Richard's birth mother was in the dock at Birmingham Magistrates Court, where she had no alternative but to plead guilty to abandoning the child in a manner likely to cause it unnecessary suffering or injury. The press reported the case in considerable detail. The prosecution set out the evidence explaining how the baby was found by the canal very close to the water's edge and the state he was in. The weather was bad, exposure had endangered the baby's life, and it was not likely the child would have lived but for the keen observation of Mr. Lester. The mother's counsel told the court that she was afraid of losing her lodgings and possibly her job, too. And the fact that the baby was born prematurely when she got home from work, he explained, caused her to act in an unnatural manner. "I hope you realize the gravity of your offense," the magistrate scolded her. All the available evidence, which was not very much, was heard. Finally, the magistrate looked straight at the mother and said, "You might have